take a trip back in time with Millennial Memories, the podcast where Chris and Sean dive into the heart of 90s nostalgia, the music, movies, TV shows, and pop culture that defined a generation. So, rip open a packet of the Gobbledock's favourite chips and let's rewind to the best decades ever. Because it's time for Millennial Memories. This episode of Millennial Memories is titled Morning Cartoons, The Breakfast of Champions.
G'day, I'm Sean.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to the Millennial Man Cave for this episode of Millennial Memories.
Thanks again to Slick Mick, our AI producer. He's a robotic man, and he sometimes gives us good information. Sometimes.
Oh, don't say that too loud. You know he gets upset. Yes, he's been busy. So as Slick Mick mentioned in this episode's introduction, it's all about Smith Chips and the Gobbledock.
Here we have some Smith Chips. Now, the Gobbledock was a puppet mascot for the Smith Chips company in the 90s and in the 80s, known for a mischievous personality and a crazy, crazy love for Smith Chips, and his catchphrase, "Chippy, chippy, chippies!" Oh, incredible, incredible. He's an icon from a potato planet named Doc.
Of course he was. Where else would you be from? If you're a Gobbledock, of course he comes from a potato
obviously.
planet. Initially conceived as a one-off advertisement by John Finkleton of Sydney's George Patterson Advertising Agency, the Gobbledock was designed and created by special effects worker Warren Beaton, who later worked for the Weeder Workshop.
Now, the Gobbledock's voice was actually done by a bloke named Dave Gibson, and Dave Gibson was the voiceover man for Australia's Funniest Home Videos.
That's where you would have heard that. So if you're a kid of the 80s and 90s, you'd be familiar with the Gobbledock.
There you go. In 2021, though, they brought back the Gobbledock, and Mr. Gibson reprised his role there. And I don't remember the 2021 ads, but
no, neither do I.
Nevertheless, icon of the 80s and 90s, the Gobbledock.
But you, sir, are the Gobbledock. So with that little blast from the past, let's find out what's up on this episode of Millennial Memories.
Whassup!
On this episode of Millennial Memories, we'll be launching into some gooey millennial goodness.
Oh, the gooey goodness. Then we'll kick it off with our top 5 favourite old school cartoons from back in the day.
Then we'll be taking a deep dive into the anthropomorphic cartoon characters of yesteryear.
What?
Yep.
On Versus, we'll compare 2 classic Australian cartoon programs. Then we're off to the Tuckshop to revisit some culinary treats.
Plus, we'll be welcoming our first special guest to the show, and we'll share a feral Australian story with you on Story Time.
Then it's time to crank up the Wibblescope and the Sean-O-meter on Rewind. And of course, wrap it up with some pearls of millennial wisdom and answer some questions on final thoughts.
But first, hot off the facts from Slick Mick, it's Facts First.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Now it's time for Facts First.
Alright, thanks Mick for that. So, on Facts First today we have 4 facts, and the first one is, the first cartoon to air in Australia was called Cartoons of the Moment, a series of short animated films created by Harry Julius in 1915. Now in 1915, of course, there was no television, no such thing existed, so this was something you would watch as a part of newsreels or films at a cinema, so it wasn't on the television. The very first animated television show in Australia was called Freddo the Frog, which was created by Fanfare Films in 1962, and it was 5-minute episodes, and there were over 50 of those made. Essentially, that was just an advertising campaign for McRobertson chocolates, for the Freddo Frog chocolates, which are still around today.
Old Freddo, yeah, still hanging around. What's that, 60 years later or 70 years later or something?
Still good too.
Yeah, still good. He shrunk a little in size, but Freddo's still there. Longest running cartoon series in Australia. What do you think it is, Sean?
It's got to be The Simpsons.
And you'd be right. The Simpsons. So The Simpsons first aired in Australia way back on Network 10 in 1991, shortly after its US debut in 1989. Delayed.
Of course.
Delayed.
Obviously.
I'd say delayed. And of course, it's been a staple of Australian television ever since.
Definitely.
The Simpsons is not only the longest running cartoon in Australia, but also the longest running primetime scripted television series in history. That's quite an incredible achievement for a cartoon. So that's quite
everybody
incredible.
knows The Simpsons.
And everybody knows it.
Everybody loves them.
Absolutely.
Great show.
As per my next point, so it's had an enduring impact on both global and Australian pop culture. Everyone knows a character, a line, can quote multiple parts of the show.
Inadvertently too.
Yeah.
Like, unintentionally, you'll just say something that's a Simpsons gag.
And it'll be something from 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Loves
Everybody
the
knows
best
it.
Simpsons.
Loves it. So the series is now in its 26th season, and it
Crazy.
continues to air new episodes and reruns on various networks and streaming services.
Speaking of networks, the
Networks.
next fact is about Cartoon Network. So the Cartoon Network began airing in Australia on October 3rd, 1995 as part of Foxtel cable television's launch. Everyone had Foxtel in the late 90s and 2000s. Initially, it operated as a dual channel with Turner Classic Movies, broadcasting from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. with Turner Classic Movies covering the remaining hours of the day. And on July 1, 2001, Cartoon Network transitioned to a separate 24-hour channel.
24 hours!
Non-stop cartoons,
Whoa.
offering exclusive
Booyah.
feeds to all the major capital cities. But unfortunately, as I've just learned, as of May this year, so
It sounds
now,
like a tearjerker.
it is a tearjerker. Cartoon Network, and it's just the channel Boomerang, are gone.
Why? Why?
Foxtel have just axed them, they're gone.
Gone. Gone
Anyway.
ski. Well, this next one here, we're going to jump into Nickelodeon. So Nickelodeon first aired on Australian TV way back in 1995, October 23rd to be precise, replacing the Max and Classic Max channels. The channel offered a mix of live-action shows and cartoons, catering to a broad audience. Initially operated as a timeshare with Nick at Night.
The cool stuff.
The cool stuff. So we'll just call it Nick at Night, the cool stuff, which began at 8 p.m. on weekdays and 10 p.m. on weekends, ending at 6 a.m.
So all night.
All night.
Nick at Night.
All night.
every
Hence, Night. Nick at Night. On January 1st, 1998, the channel extended its broadcast hours by an additional half an hour on weekdays, moving Nick at Night back to 8:30 p.m.
Bedtime.
Bedtime. It was bedtime.
bedtime.
8:30. Time to get to bed, guys. Further expanding its programming, on January 2nd, 2000, the channel introduced more Nick.
Oh, 'cause
not
what
just
do you
Nick
need?
and Night, more
More
Nick.
Nick.
Give us more Nick.
Non-stop Nick.
Oh, sexy. Extending its broadcast hours to 10 p.m. every night of the week.
Beautiful.
In 2020, the channel rebranded as 10 Shake.
10 Shake.
Horrendous idea. What is 10 Shake? I shake my hands at you. Network 10's third multi-channel. And on August 1st, 2023, it was rebranded back as Nickelodeon. Of
course it was.
It should have stayed as Nickelodeon, let's be honest. Which offering a comprehensive program lineup across daytime and nighttime viewing. All right, it's time for the top 5.
You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep
Now
you
it's time for a
down.
cheeky top 5.
All right, thank you, Mick. So now on this top 5, Chris and I have gone our separate ways once again and done our top 5
Top 5.
cartoons from, our childhood, essentially. Right.
And we've, reconvened?
Reconvened. And I'm going to go first, Chris. And I'm going to start with my number 5. My number 5 was Captain Planet and the Planeteers. A classic. So Captain Planet and the Planeteers aired from 1990 to 1996, created by Ted Turner, Barbara Pyle and Nicholas Boxer to promote environmental awareness through entertainment. Which it did very well.
Absolutely.
The show follows 5 teens around the world who use elemental powers: earth, fire, wind, water, and
powers combined.
And if you got height, to summon Captain Planet, a superhero, a blue superhero with green hair, who helps fight pollution and environmental destruction. Known for its strong eco-conscious message, diverse cast and celebrity voice talent. I don't know who the voices were.
were those
Apparently,
celebrities?
the series tackled real-world issues like climate change and deforestation. While sometimes seen as heavy-handed, it became a 90s cultural icon and did spark environmental awareness in a generation of young viewers. That's the notes that we've got here. And yes, it did. It did very much so, Captain Planet.
It was absolutely the first cartoon that you remember that had anything to do with
And I mean,
the
early
environment.
90s,
Yeah,
that
early
sort of
90s.
stuff wasn't really
No,
in the
it wasn't
forefront
talked
of
about.
people's minds. But
No.
there you go. Number 4, I had Where's Wally? Where's Waldo in the States, but Where's Wally here? It's an American show, but for some reason we got, luckily we got a version of it called Where's Wally, not Where's Waldo. And basically what it is, it's aired from 91 only to 92, only 2 seasons, based on popular books by Martin Handford, of which are here somewhere. I have all the Where's Wally books. I didn't find him every time, but still. It was produced by Dick Entertainment, or Deke.
Deke.
Gotta
Not
say it
the
right.
Deke.
Don't muck that up. There was 13 episodes. I thought there was a lot more.
Yeah, it seemed that way, didn't it?
Didn't
Where
it?
Wally, he was everywhere at one point. Or was he?
Huge.
Could you find him?
Oh, what a setup. The series followed Wally, of course, the red and white striped adventurer as he travels through time and space, solving puzzles and helping others, often accompanied by his dog Woof. His main antagonist was Oddlaw. Fun fact, Oddlaw is Waldo spelt backwards. I bet you didn't know that. He's a mischievous character and he tries to steal Wally's magical walking stick. Fair enough too. Designed to be educational and interactive, the show encouraged viewers to spot Wally and other visual cues on screen, much like the books, which were awesome. The books were really cool. A short-lived series, it remains a nostalgic part of, well, definitely for me, a nostalgic part of my life. I loved Where's Wally, and I loved the theme song.
Yeah, everyone knew it.
Cool theme song. Number 3, I had Spider-Man, the animated series, Red Hot. So good, right? It aired from 94 to 98 on Fox Kids. It was 5 seasons, 65 episodes. And obviously, everyone knows about Peter Parker and that, bitten by a radioactive spider, and he becomes Spider-Man. I don't need to go through the story of Spider-Man, I don't think, for anybody. It had some cool villains: Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, Venom, Carnage. Cool stuff.
Just to name a couple,
yeah. Serialized storytelling and was pretty faithful to the comics, of which I was a big fan. It tackled mature themes and complex storylines, particularly for kids. Some of the complexities of it. It reintroduced Spider-Man to a new generation and became a cornerstone of 90s animation, which is true. Now, a cool thing about that too is people might remember the intro. Joe Perry from Aerosmith.
Joe Perry, yep, the one and only.
He created the theme. Apparently, he was a big Spider-Man fan.
Yep.
I don't know how accurate that is, but
is that something that Mick told us?
It is something
we
that
must
Mick told
believe
me
it.
when I
Mick
gave him
told
my
us,
top 5, but I reckon it could be true. Yeah. I mean, why else would he do the theme?
Why else?
Right?
Yeah.
But it was a killer theme. But the lyrics: Spider-Man, radioactive Spider-Man. I think that's about it. Actually, pretty cool theme.
Someone made a mince out of that.
Oh, of course. Yeah. My number 2 is a fucking banger. Dino Riders.
Dino Riders, yes.
Now, I felt like Dino Riders was went on forever, and it was this huge, sprawling story. 1988 to 1990, 2 seasons, only 14 episodes. That's it.
I can't believe that. Yeah,
Produced by Tyco Toys and Marvel.
And Marvel, yeah. Okay.
Set in a prehistoric world where 2 factions, the Valorians and the Rulons, use genetically enhanced dinosaurs to battle each other. Well, not really genetically enhanced. They've got cool armor and stuff like that. Yeah. The Valorians were good-hearted warriors. They used the technology to control the dinosaurs, while the Rulons employed brainwashing, brain boxes, on the dinosaurs to manipulate their dinosaur army. And fuck me, a dinosaur army.
It was pretty cool.
Mate,
with laser cannons.
Any day of the week, give me a dinosaur army, and I'm there. That's what's happening. The show combined action and adventure with educational elements. Look, at the time, I guess some of it could have been considered educational.
I didn't take anything educational out of it.
The only thing I got was you shouldn't put brain boxes on your dinosaurs. Nevertheless, short-lived, nostalgic favourite for me. I loved it. Late 80s. It was one of my favourites. Just a killer. My number 1, my favourite cartoon of all time. It is X-Men, the animated series. Aired on Fox Kids from 92 to 97. Kick-ass theme song, one of the best. Ran for 5 seasons and a whopping 76 episodes. It's a lot of cartoons.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Developed by Eric Lord, Sidney Iwanta, and Mark Edens, and produced by Saban Entertainment, and of course Marvel, obviously. It brought that sort of similar to Spider-Man, obviously being Marvel as well. It had that iconic 90s look to it.
Yeah,
the way it was animated. Yeah. It was serialized storytelling again, like Spider-Man. Again, same sort of thing. It tackled mature themes, especially for young kids, prejudice, civil rights, things where obviously mutants are being treated like,
minority. Really? Outcasts, yeah.
But I mean, I watched it because it was cool powers and to beat the shit out of each other. That was probably why I liked it. And it very much followed from the Jim Lee X-Men of the early 90s, which was some of the most iconic X-Men comics that there are. They're below me here in the Millennial Man Cave. They're all around the place. It had some pretty big stories, standout voice acting. Cal Dodd did Wolverine. He was awesome.
He was awesome, yeah.
Yeah, just awesome. That helped define a new generation of cartoons. It had a modest budget. And I've heard this before, they didn't have a lot of money.
I can't believe that because it was such an awesome series.
They made a real fist of it. The last
absolutely.
season is a bit of a mess because it's only a short season too. But nevertheless, one of the greatest cartoons I think ever made. Big fan. That's my top 5. Chris, what's yours?
X-Men, what a great top 5 that was. So jumping into my top 5. So my number 5 was Thundercats. Huge fan of Thunder. Again, another kick-ass theme music. And it had that great...
Thunder.
Thunder. Who could be, and a magic kick-ass sword, this thing. So, I mean, everything about it was awesome.
Cool toy.
Cool toy, yeah. I remember having one of those swords, actually, and it was as a prized possession for a very long time. I wish I still had it now, to be honest. So the Thundercats... Of course, was an animated series that originally aired from 1985 to 1989, and it's created by the Rankin Bass Productions and was animated by the Japanese studio Pacific Animation Corporation. The show combined Western storytelling with anime-inspired visuals, and it ran for 4 seasons, totaling 130 episodes. Again, I thought that run longer than it did because I swear to God, I swore I watched that for 10 years. The story follows the Thundercats, a group of feline humanoid aliens who escape their dying home planet Thundera. They crash land on a new world called Third Earth, of course, where they battle evil forces led by the ancient sorcerer Mumra. He was a badass. He was cool. The team is led by Lino, the young lord of the Thundercats, who wields a mystical sword of omens. It's a pretty cool. Go check it out if you've never seen it.
Sword of Omens.
Sword of Omens.
I remember the sword distinctly with the eye.
Yeah, the cat's symbol.
Eye?
Yeah, the cat's eye was rad. Known for its adventurous tone, memorable characters like Chitara, sexy Chitara, Tigra, Panthro, and Snarf. Snarf. It's known for its iconic theme music. As we mentioned, kick-ass theme music, great guitars, 80s to the max. Thundercats become a beloved staple of the 1980s for children's TV. Coming in at number 4, I also have X-Men series, just like Sean did. So X-Men, but I've also got to give a special mention to the X-Men 97 series, which I thought was going to be a diabolical piece of crap, but turned out not to be.
Oh, it was amazing. It was really good. They did a great job of continuing the story.
They did.
They took some of the best X-Men storylines from the comics, like Fatal Attractions, and put that in, and it was awesome. I thought we were texting each other.
We were, yeah. I said to Sean, "This is going to be terrible. They're going to destroy it like they've destroyed everything else." I had no hopes. No hopes. I thought they're going down the woke path. It's going to be destroyed. But turns out they actually did a pretty good job with it. So if you're a big fan of the X-Men, check out the 97 series.
Yeah, it's cool.
Coming at number 3, I have Voltron, a bit of a hidden classic. So this one aired originally in the United States between 1984 and 85, so only the one series. It was produced by the World Events Productions by re-editing and combining footage from 2 separate Japanese anime series, a bit like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Right.
So it's the same thing. They combined 2 different series and made it into one complete series. So the 2 series they combined was Beast King Go Line and Armored Fleet Daruga XV, whatever that is.
Of course, everyone knows. Armored Fleet Daruga.
Massively successful cartoons, both of those. Look them up.
I know Voltron.
I know Voltron. So Voltron is some kind of branch of those two.
Got it.
So the show gained popularity for its action-packed episodes and giant robot battles. Who doesn't love a giant robot battles? Cool, hey? Cool big swords. So the most well-known version of Voltron, Defender of the Universe, of course, follows 5 space explorers who pilot robotic lines.
That's just awesome anyway.
Yeah, 5, and they were different coloured. They had different sort of personalities. Each one was...
And it predates Power Rangers.
It was definitely a precursor to the Power Rangers series. So they would combine basically to form one big robot called Voltron. Yeah. And they would protect the planet from various... Evils, yeah. They would just kick some ass. They'd basically just get a big sword and kick some ass. Cool. So the original Voltron series ran for 2 seasons with a total of 124 episodes.
That's a lot for 2 seasons.
It is. That's a lot. And that's why I said it. I thought like it went for 10 years.
So they must have just like smashed it out and then just put, I don't know, 120. You can't air
124 episodes, yeah.
It's on the daily show. Anyway.
So Voltron was essentially a mix of science fiction, fantasy and teamwork.
And teamwork to make the dream work.
So that's what made it a fan favourite. It was a bit of a groundbreaking cartoon in the time, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
It's been adapted, as we said. Power Rangers was a complete adaptation of the Voltron series back in the late 80s.
Yeah, I agree.
Coming in at number 2, I have, of course, the Mighty He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Classic series. So He-Man and the Masters of the Universe was a popular animated series, and it aired from 83 to 85. Produced by Filmation, it was one of the first cartoons created specifically to promote a toy line. In this case, it was Mattel's Masters of the Universe action figures. Yeah, a little bit like dino riders.
same sort of thing.
So the show became a cultural phenomenon back in the 80s, combining sword and sorcery with sci fiction elements. So the toys were absolutely everywhere. You couldn't escape He-Man toys back in the 80s.
Yeah.
The series follows Prince Adam of the planet Eternia, who transforms into the heroic He-Man by holding his magic sword and saying,
By the power of Grayskull.
and once he turns into the mighty He-Man, he battles his nemesis Skeletor, who seeks to conquer Castle Grayskull and gain ultimate power. Of course, that's what you do.
So
when you're
many
buddy.
memes now.
So yeah,
The Skeletor running
Skeletor's
down.
everywhere. Yeah,
Skeletor.
he's everywhere.
He's cool.
but he's a good bad guy. He's a good nemesis to have. In the original series, that's him. That's him. The original series ran for 2 seasons with a total of 130 episodes.
Shit.
It's blended.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah. All these cartoons had big number of episodes, right?
Oh, mate, buying a box set of these.
Yeah. Send you break. Let's take out a second
People
mortgage.
don't buy box sets
They
anymore.
don't.
They
They
just
just
stream
download
them.
shit. Yeah, that's right. You don't want the boxes.
Losers.
So what made He-Man successful was its blend of action, moral lessons. Of course, he was big on moral lessons, and the larger-than-life characters helped solidify He-Man as one of the most iconic figures in the 1980s animation world. Well, it was huge. Coming in at number 1, I have the Ren and Stimpy show. This one was a little offbeat, a little bit different to the other ones that we've discussed today. So the Ren and Stimpy show was an animated series that originally aired from 91 to 96. So it had a pretty good run on Nickelodeon back in the day. Created by John Crick, that's for short, and produced by Spumco.
Spumco.
Later Games Animation, in brackets.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. So this show was known for its offbeat humour. Surreal.
it was wild.
It was wild. It didn't make
fucking
sense
wild.
sometimes. It really didn't make any sense a lot of times.
No.
It's offbeat humour, surreal animation style, and boundary-pushing content that stood out from other cartoons of its time. Powdered Toast Man, remember that guy?
Oh, mate,
Yeah.
Powdered Toast Man and Log. The ad for Log.
It's
Kids
log.
love- kids
It's
love
big,
log.
It's heavy, it's wood, right?
It's big, it's heavy, it's wood.
It's log. Look it up, kids. YouTube it.
Oh, dear.
It's log. The series centers on Ren, a short-tempered, neurotic chihuahua,
Yeah.
and Stimpy, his dim-witted but good-natured cat companion. Together, they get into bizarre and absurd adventures, often laced with dark comedy, slapstick violence, and gross-out humour. Ren and Stimpy ran for 5 seasons for only a total of 52 episodes.
Yeah, but they're longer episodes.
They are, yeah.
I
But
have
you
the
look
box set here. I'm holding the box set for our podcast listeners. Ren and Stimpy collector's set. Wonderful stuff.
So though it was controversial, it became a cult favourite and was highly influential in shaping the tone of adult-orientated animation that followed.
It was filthy and it led to more filthy cartoons, basically.
It opened the gate. It was the first one to open the gate. I remember that. It was huge.
Yeah.
Memorable.
I was like Gritty Kitty.
Gritty Kitty. Yeah, Gritty Kitty.
Muddy Mud Skipper.
Muddy Mud Skipper.
So many good things out of it. But like, it's a bit of a unsung hero.
It is, yeah.
Don't you
It's
think?
kind of been forgotten
Like we
by
talked
time.
about The Simpsons before and how that's so big and influential. But you know what? Ren and Stimpy
At its time, yeah, they were huge. It was massive.
pushed the boundaries.
It
right?
did put, yeah. Well, it was the first cartoon to really push the boundaries, as you said. There was nothing like it at the time.
And we watched it as children during the day.
yeah.
This was definitely a Nick at Night thing.
It was Nick at Night.
It just had to be.
Night Nick.
Oh,
That was Night Nick. Yeah.
Not cool.
Night Nick.
I've got a list here of some honourable mentions,
Honourable
Chris. Right,
mentions?
I'm going to go through them because I think that these are ones that
Hit me.
didn't make our top 5s, but
Hit me with
still
it.
cool, right? Inspector Gadget.
Oh,
So good.
massive cartoon.
So good. And the fact that you could never see the bad guy, just had the hand.
Yeah,
And
so
his
that's
cat-
what made him cool. A bit like Dr. Evil.
Yeah, that's it. The Tick.
Oh, yes, the Tick.
That was one of the Fox cartoons. He was pretty cool. He had a comic series as well. Now, here's a cartoon I really like, and I didn't put it in my top 5, but it's pretty close. It's got to be close. Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law.
Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law.
Such a good cartoon. Stephen Colbert's in that. It's really good. Look it up if you haven't seen it. Defenders of the Earth.
Defenders of the Earth, yeah.
Yeah, we
Another
had
big
Mandrake,
one. Yeah.
Phantom, Flash Gordon.
Yeah, all those guys.
A bunch of other characters. G.I. Joe.
The GI, yeah.
I didn't get into G.I. Joe, though.
No, I wasn't huge on GI. That was more like a, I don't know. It just didn't appeal to me.
It's an American thing,
Yeah, it was an American
right?
thing, yeah.
You know,
I think.
like, because it sort of works around their patriotism.
Yeah, it does.
I'm a G.I. Joe. I'm Joe. Average Joe. American Joe.
Give me the number 3 buzz cut and, what's that, Into the Jungle.
Rubbish. Transformers. Yeah, okay.
I like Transformers,
I
yeah.
like Transformers too, but it's one of those ones that it didn't make the list because it's just a given.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, look at our top 5. They're pretty good top 5, let's be honest.
Marvel Action Hour was another one that was on Cartoon Network, I think,
Yeah.
that I used to enjoy watching. And they had Fantastic Four and Iron Man, but then a comic nerd, what do you expect? And, of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mate. I used to froth on those things, yeah.
But that leads us into our next segment, which is a deep dive. So we'll hand it over to you, Mick.
Now it's time to take a deep dive.
Time for a deep dive. We're going in deep.
Deep. How deep is your dive?
The anthropomorphic cartoon characters of yesteryear. Let's talk about anthropomorphism. Sounds dirty.
It does sound dirty,
But
doesn't
it's
it?
not.
But
Not
it's
at
not.
all.
It's clean fun.
It's the attribution of human characteristics or behaviours to a god, animal, or object. Shorthand, it's when you make an animal like a person. Right? We've got a huge list here. Well, it's not huge, but there's enough here.
It's a good list.
It's a good list. So, in the 1990s, there was a boom in kids' shows, cartoons, with anthropomorphism. So, giving animals or objects human traits. Becoming a key storytelling tool in a lot of different cartoons, right? We're going to go through a list, Chris, that's going to give us all kinds of different things and animals that are human-like, giving human personalities, emotions, and social dynamics to them, making them relatable and engaging for children.
And that's what made them so popular too. So action-centric series like the Biker Mice from Mars and the Wild Thornberrys showcase animal characters as brave, emotionally complex protagonists. Even non-animal entities were anthropomorphic.
It's a tongue twister.
It is a tongue twister. Anthropomorphized. The more I say it now, I'm getting tongue
They
twisted.
cranked up the animal in them.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. All right, that is awesome. I'm using that. Okay. The magic school bus and the brave little toaster brought human-like depth to objects, turning everyday items into heartfelt companions.
What in the shit is the brave little toaster?
I have no idea. Never
No
heard of it.
idea.
It's something Mick gave it.
Thanks,
Just gonna
Mick.
roll
One
it.
of
Thanks,
your
Mick.
real fucking dudes.
They really
there,
cranked
mate.
up the animal in that.
Anthropomorphism worked, pretty well, because it helped children connect emotionally and learn social lessons and enjoy imaginative adventures. Well, look, its legacy endures in modern media, proving its lasting impact on children's storytelling. Again, thank you, Mick. Shorthand, again, you turn things into people that aren't people so you can make people understand those things. That's about it. You crank up the animal, don't you, Wibbles?
You crank up the animal in them. That's it, man.
Right. We have a list here. We're
Did they
gonna
do
go
that with
through
the brave little toaster? Can you crank up the
Listen,
animal?
they made a toaster like a person. That's what I'm assuming. Unless it was the toast was like a person.
Yeah,
no, it's
maybe.
got to be the toaster, right?
It's
All right,
gotta
we have
be.
a list here. Take it away.
Okay, the list of popular cartoons from the 1990s and the early 2000s featuring anthropomorphic animals. So, coming in, number one, we've got here, of course, it's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 87 to 96. So, this followed 4 mutated turtles, named after a couple of famous artistes, we must say. Artistes. And, of course, what else do turtles do? But they fought crime and face off against villains such as the Shredder and, of course, Krang, the busted testicle.
He's essentially a brain in the guts of a robot.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that is, you're missing out.
You are missing out.
You're missing out.
Yeah.
DuckTales.
DuckTales.
Woo!
Tell me all
Everyone
about it.
loves DuckTales. 1987 to 1990 it ran for. Scrooge McDuck and his nephews Huey, Dewey and Louie. The series follows the adventurous
Huey
and
and
money-driven McDuck on thrilling escapades. Yes, I agree, DuckTales was a very good show, but I like the spin-off Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck was, yeah, that
was
was
a
much
cracker.
better. It was, yeah. It was a terror. Next we have Animaniacs from 93 to 98, featuring a variety of cranked up animal characters like Yakko, Wacko and Dot Warner, who engage in zany antics.
Zany,
Zany, they were
so
crazy.
zany.
They
Well,
were
yeah,
cranked
they were
up.
pretty zany. Then we had a good one that I really enjoyed from my childhood, Biker Mice from Mars.
That was big for a while, wasn't
Good
it?
one. 3 anthropomorphic mice, Throttle, Modo, and Vinny, who fight to save their home planet of Mars, of course, from the evil force of the Plutarchians.
And how else do you fight bad guys? But on a bike.
And how else do you do it? As a mouse.
Of course you do.
Obviously.
Next we have Street Sharks from
Or a
94.
fucking shark. So much better.
Street Sharks.
If you could choose turtle, mouse, or shark, you'd go on shark every day of the week, aren't you?
course you are. Street Sharks, 94 to 97. Now, just on that, we've got some special footage coming up of Street Sharks. It's probably playing right now, actually. So this one was about four brothers. They transformed into half-man, half-shark superheroes. They fight evil mutants and mad scientists in over-the-top, high-energy battles. Street Sharks.
So good.
So good.
So good.
The toys were awesome.
Another one, a bit like DuckTales, another Disney one, Chippendale Rescue Rangers. I quite like Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Yeah, it was at the lower spectrum and the low end for me.
When
I'll say.
It's Chippendale detective team solving mysteries and other animal characters like Gadget Hackwrench, the mouse inventor. Don't remember Gadget Hackwrench, but
No.
I do remember vaguely the Chippendale show. Not very good detectives.
Not very good. No, they weren't. They were pretty average.
I
weren't
worked
they?
with a few that weren't very good as well in my time.
Next, we have the Cat Dog, 98 to 205. Follows the misadventures of cat and dog. Two creatures joined at the hip with very different personalities, but forced to navigate the world
How
together.
did Cat Dog shit or piss?
I don't know. It was a strange concept.
Like, I mean,
It was a strange concept.
I mean, it's not as crazy as an anthropomorphic toaster, but a cat and a dog joined together at the guts.
With no anus, they shared a stomach. What was the game?
I don't know. Did they just take turns in vomiting out their waste?
I think so. They just didn't air that part for kids.
Anyway, and then we've got here Cow and Chicken. It's a show about cow and a chicken.
A cow and a chicken, literally.
Yeah, I mean they talked and stuff. Apparently they were siblings. I don't understand it. The characters didn't understand it.
No, they had no
didn't
idea.
understand why they were.
It's like twins. It was like Arnie and DeVito.
But better.
Yeah.
Or not better. I just don't know. Speaking of better, we're going to go to the best of the best. Let's go to a top 10.
Let's go to the top 10.
Now it's time for a top 10.
Righto, thanks Mick. In this top 10, we're going to list the top 10 highest grossing animated shows of the 1990s. A bit like we did in the last episode with films, we're going to do the 90s animated shows. Look, some of these, obvious, right? Some of them pretty clear. You can be like, well, we expected that. There's a few out of left field. So
There's a few I wasn't expecting.
no, and I don't know how good Mick is, but look, we're going with this list anyway.
We're rolling with it.
We're
Come on,
rolling with
Mick.
it. So I'll do number 10. It was a cartoon I actually really enjoyed, Beavis and Butthead. One of the classics.
I love Beavis and Butthead.
Got a reboot recently.
Hey, Beavis.
We're a bit like Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah,
ourselves.
we are a bit.
$1.5 billion. And the original run was 1993 to 1997. And I think it was bit of stop-start there. MTV. When you think of MTV, you think of Beavis and Butthead. You think of music.
It was, of course, it was everywhere. That was all MTV played as a cartoon, right?
all the
Beavis
time.
and Butthead,
It was in between film clips.
And the fact they worked Beavis and Butthead into musical clips back then, remember? They worked them into the programming, definitely.
Which was super smart.
Yeah, it was.
Created by Mike Judge, this controversial and satirical series followed two dim-witted teenage slackers. Yeah. Despite its crude humour, it gained a massive cult following and led to a theatrical film. It did a few films, actually. Some albums. There were albums. There are actually, I've got some of the albums.
Okay.
Yeah, video games and merchandise. The video games sucked.
I bet, yeah.
They were shocking. Pivotal role in shaping adult animation in the 90s and paved the way for South Park Family Guy. Yeah, a bit like Ren and Stimpy.
Same.
In that sort of vein.
That kind of humour, stupid
Breaking the
humour.
law.
Breaking the law.
So good.
Yeah, so good. Coming in at number 9, Doug. Estimated revenue, $2 billion.
For Doug.
$2 billion. The original run between 91 and 94 through Nickelodeon, and then 96 to 99 with Disney. Studio, obviously, was Nickelodeon and Disney. Doug was a slice of life series following the imaginative and sensitive Doug Funny.
It was a slice of shit.
Slice of shit. I
It's
didn't
garbage.
like it. I hated it. And there was really...
Who spent $2 billion
watching this crap.
on Doug?
Yeah.
Obviously Doug's not the worst cartoon around, but it's certainly not the caliber of Beavis and Butthead.
Merch and expansion spawned books, toys, and a Disney feature film. Doug's first movie, 1999.
Yuck.
Never seen it.
Yuck.
Don't care to see it.
That's one
Legacy.
we missed that we won't rewind on.
No.
Absolutely not.
Legacy, if there is one, apparently. One of the original Nicktoons and a beloved, relatable coming-of-age story for the 90s kids. Sorry.
Not these 90s kids.
No way. Doug, couldn't tell you about it. Don't care.
Number 8. The Powerpuff Girls. Estimated revenue of $2.5 billion.
That's hard to believe, yeah.
1998 to 2005 was its run. Cartoon Network. It's about 3 kindergarten-age girls, Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup, created in a lab accident. And they use their powers to save Townsville from various villains. Townsville. Not Queensland, Townsville. No one would save Townsville.
Go the Cowboys.
Merchant expansion. Generated extensive toy lines, apparel, comics, and a theatrical film. There was a movie.
There was, yeah.
And a reboot in 2016. And a legacy of a standout success for Cartoon Network and a feminist icon in animation.
A feminist icon?
I'm not sure about that. I mean, it was...
No.
I'm not saying it's not, but I think it was just an icon. Like, it is genuinely pretty funny. I don't know if you ever watched Powerpuff Girls.
No,
it's actually really funny. So anyway,
that was the legacy. Number 7. So Batman the animated series, estimated revenue about $3 billion. So monstrous.
Easily $3 billion.
Yeah, $3 billion, monstrous. Original run was from 92 to 95, so only a couple of years, but it smashed out $3 billion. Studio was Warner Brothers Animation, so about widely praised for its mature storytelling and compelling villains. This series redefined superhero animation. Merchant expansion spawned action figures, video games, the Batman, Mask of the
Phantasm.
Yeah,
it was a film.
Was it? Never heard of it.
Full-length film. It was great, actually.
Okay, Mask of the Phantasm. And multiple spin-offs including Justice League, of course. Legacy influenced all later Batman media and introduced the iconic Harley Quinn.
Number 6.
Ooh,
well,
big one.
It's another classic. It's the one we've been talking about. It is the X-Men animated series. So good. $3.5 billion, 92 to 97. We talked about it earlier. Saban Entertainment and Marvel. This action-packed adaptation of the Marvel comic brought about a new generation of animation, tackling complex issues like discrimination and identity. X-Men's amazing. The merchant expansion, wow, there's a lot of X-Men merchandise.
There was a lot of merchandise.
Comics, obviously. It started in the comics. It improved the comic sales. A major toy line. I've got a few of them in the Millennial Man Cave here. And video games. Heaps of cool X-Men video games.
Cool video games.
They were good ones.
Lots of
the Sega Saturn games, if anyone's ever played those X-Men Sega Saturn games, they are the only good games on the Sega Saturn, the X-Men. Come at me, bro. If you think I'm wrong, make a comment because I want to hear about it because they're rad. Legacy. It helped ignite Marvel's animated TV success into the 2000s. And then, obviously, there was the whole film franchise after that, too. X-Men films. Some good, some bad. Yeah, that's a story for another time.
That is
Chris,
another story.
What have we got at number 5?
Next was a pretty fun one. This was Rugrats, so this was a pretty laid-back cartoon back in the day. Estimated revenue, $5 billion.
Crazy.
I can't believe that.
That's a lot of coin.
$5 billion.
For a cartoon about babies.
About babies. And that one run, I suppose it had a big run. It went from 91 through to 2004. And
it had to stop and start during that, didn't it?
Yeah, I would assume so. Wouldn't have thought it was rolled all the way through. Consistent as that, yeah. Studio was Nickelodeon, Clancy Cuspo. And it was told from the perspective of babies like Tommy, Chuck, and Angelica. Rugrats was a humorous look at the toddler life through wild adventures and misinterpretations from the adult world. Merchant expansion. This included 3 theatrical movies. Theme park,
3 of them.
3, yeah. Okay. 3 movies. Theme park attractions, books, video games, and spin-offs. All grown up. That was the spin-off.
Yeah, I do remember there was a spin-off.
Yeah.
It was shit.
It was terrible, yeah. It was a bucket of crap.
Yeah.
The Legacy. So it's one of the most successful Nicktoons ever and a cultural touchstone for millennials.
Fair enough. Number 4, a really good one. SpongeBob SquarePants. Listen, I love SpongeBob. My son loves SpongeBob. It's been around a long time. It made $13 billion.
Yeah, wow.
Started in 1999, and it is still going.
Wow, what's that, 26 years? Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
Wow.
Nickelodeon. Everyone knows it's a Nicktoon. This undersea comedy follows the overly optimistic SpongeBob and his quirky friends in Bikini Bottom. You're damn right it does. The merch and expansion, so much merch.
Man, that was everywhere,
mate,
wasn't it? Yeah, SpongeBob, everything. Yeah.
I used to wear a SpongeBob shirt around.
Yeah.
Seriously. Includes multiple feature films, stage musicals, toys, video games, and global licensing deals.
Stage musicals.
There it is.
There's a musical.
We have a DVD here, Tales from the Deep, SpongeBob. So good, great show. Everything about it's well known to most people. It's the longest running show on Nickelodeon and an enduring pop culture juggernaut. That's to say the least.
I'm surprised that it's been around that long. I would have thought it was that long.
99.
99.
Turn of the millennium.
Jesus. Yeah,
the Y2K sponge.
Wow. The Y2K sponge. Look
There you
at him.
go.
There he is. Coming in at number 3, Animaniacs. Estimated revenue $15 billion. That has to be incorrect, surely, Mick. Original run was 93.
Sort yourself out, Mick. That can't be
that.
right.
That can't be right, Mick. Original run was from 93 to 98. Studio was Warner Brothers.
Right.
And this is about a zany sketch style show led by Yakko, Wacko and Dot, known for its satire, musical numbers and fourth wall breaking antics. Merch and expansion. There was toys, books, soundtrack albums. Video games, never played it.
I've never played one.
No.
Never seen one.
No. And the Hulu reboot in 2020.
Hulu It's the Hulu reboot.
The Hulu reboot.
Don't know nothing about it.
The reboot. Don't know about the reboot. Legacy, one of the most clever and enduring series of its time, blending education with entertainment.
You know, DOT stands for Warner Brothers. It says Warner Bros. Dot. Full stop.
Is that right? Okay.
There you go. Number 2. Pokemon!
Gotta catch 'em all!
118.5 billion. I'd actually believe that. That's
So
total
right.
franchise, apparently.
So
but that's
right.
that.
I think the game had a
believe.
big part of that too. Remember when that game?
The Game
came
Boy
out?
one?
No, the one on people's phones when you had to catch the Pokemon.
Oh, Pokemon Go.
Yeah, Pokemon Go.
I was a sucker for Pokemon
That
Go.
was massive. Everyone
played
was
it.
playing that game.
It was, yeah, big. 97 to now. It's still running. You can still watch Pokemon. It's got different names. Each series has a different name. 97 till now.
97.
OLM Inc. and Nintendo. It's a Nintendo thing. Ash Ketchum and Pikachu's journey to become Pokemon Masters is a global phenomenon. It's Ash Ketchum. Gotta catch 'em all.
Catch them. You do have to catch them all. Good on you, Ash.
Well played, well played.
Yeah.
Merch and expansion. So much merch again. Another one.
much.
I think the key is merch.
Merch, yeah. Merch is what drives it, isn't it? Yeah.
Games, trading cards, films, toys, apparel, and yeah, it's an
Everything.
empire.
Everything.
Everything.
You name it, there's a Pokemon thing for
And
it.
the legacy is that it is one of the most successful franchises ever, and it has a massive global impact. It really does. It truly does. I never got into Pokemon too much until the game Pokemon Go came out. I kind of missed.
We were older then, so this is what are we talking? 97.
But even
we
then,
were, yeah.
then we were sort of maybe just coming out of cartoons or maybe not coming out of cartoons, but we sort of missed the new breed. We were watching the cartoons we'd already established,
True.
right? So and in Australia, I mean, it says 97. We probably didn't get it till 2003. You know, that's the way that things it seemed like that. Things are always a bit late. What is number 1?
Number
Chris?
1, The Simpsons. Estimated revenue over $14 billion.
Easily.
So Pokemon are 118 billion. Simpsons 14 billion.
But see, that was franchise for Pokemon. That was everything.
Yeah, got you.
We're talking just the cartoon for Simpsons.
Got ya.
Here. But I mean, $14 billion just spent on the
cartoon itself.
Yeah.
And again, look at the original run from 1989 through to present. Still on. I mean, you can find it on pay TV. Studio Fox, Gracie Films. So the quintessential American animated sitcom following, of course, Homer, Maggie, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie. And it's a satire of suburban life and pop culture. Merch and expansion. I mean, again, endless merchandise with this one. The movie in 2007. Video games, comic books, and theme park rides. Legacy. Guinness World Record holder for the longest running animated sitcom and considered one of the most influential TV series of all time.
I mean, the people who wrote The Simpsons wrote most of Saturday Night Live sketches. Conan O'Brien's one of them. I mean, I don't know all the names, but they're already well-known, world-famous writers, comedians. We've in recent years, it's predicted a bunch of different things that have actually occurred. that were kind of a joke. Like even the Trump presidency was predicted by The Simpsons.
Yeah,
right? So the impact of these cartoons, some of them made movies and some of them are games and board games, video games, phone games, whatever.
Yeah,
everything. They made a shitload of money. So much money.
Shitload.
I mean, it's not always about the money. Like most of these, out of the 10, maybe
do they want to monetize it, or what do they want to do?
Well, they were just monetizing, not funetizing. But they did both. Some of them did both. But I tell you what, the fact that most of these, you can still get them. They're still relevant now. People still watch them. It's incredible. But you know what? I'm going to get controversial. It's time for a fight.
It's time for a fight.
Fight on. It's time for Versus.
Versus. We're in for a fight here.
Fight time.
Fight time.
Righto. We're going to put two classic Australian cartoon programs. We have two great shows, Cheez TV and Saturday Disney. Now, you might think it's unfair because Cheez TV was every day of the week and Saturday Disney was just Saturday.
Saturday Disney.
But we're looking at this as the perspective of if Saturday Disney was every day or if Cheez TV was one show a week. Like we're going to try and give it some context and make it work, okay? I'm going to summarise Cheez TV and Wibbles here is going to do Saturday Disney. And then we're going to, I guess, figure out a winner.
Pros and cons and...
Someone's got to be a winner, right?
Someone's got to be a winner.
Victory.
Flawless victory.
I don't think it'll be flawless. Cheez TV, 1995 to 2005. 10 years.
Had a good run.
It was a Network 10 program. That was weekday morning. So before school, you had it. And if you woke up too early...
It was your go-to, yeah.
No, if you woke up too early, you weren't getting cheese.
Oh, you were
getting aerobics Oz style.
You were getting cheese of a different kind.
I don't even know what that means, but okay.
Neither do I, but anyway.
The host of the show, professionals, unlike these pair of mugs. We had Ryan Lappin and Jade Gatt. And Ryan and Jade were actually really funny at the time. I've watched some of this recently, and it's not aged. It's aged like cheese. It's moulded. Not so good. Two cool guys. They did a reboot in later years, only recently, and they did a podcast themselves, and it was actually really great, and they are really funny. The format for the original Cheez TV was a 90-minute morning TV show featuring cartoons, lots of cartoons, anime skits, and viewer interactions. There were 2,547 episodes of Cheez TV over the 11 seasons. It just creeped into 11 years, yeah. Notable for introducing anime and action-packed cartoons to Australian audiences. So a lot of these American cartoons that we've been talking about on the podcast today, they were, I guess, packaged and marketed to us as millennials via these programs. Cheez TV, Saturday Disney, and of course, Agro's Cartoon Connection. But we're not talking about Agro right now. Content highlights. So there were some highlights. They featured popular series. Again, Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z. We haven't talked about that yet.
We haven't, no.
Sailor Moon, Digimon. I don't really...
Digimon? What was Digimon? I can't remember Digimon.
It just sounds like a bad Pokemon.
It does. Yeah, a rip-off, yeah.
The Simpsons. They never did The Simpsons. Mick, you got that wrong, I think.
Mick,
Biker Mice from Mars. Yeah, Biker Mice from Mars. X-Men, Spider-Man. There was a few other Japanese cartoons that were on there too. And it was known for a cheeky tone. It was for tweens and teens. They were sneaking in right on time. They were taking over the studio in the morning. They did their own show. They had guests. They engaged people with phone things, competitions. And
they did too, yeah.
They did sketches. And sketches were pretty good. Yeah. I mean, they appealed to kids when we were kids, right?
When we were kids, yeah, correct.
You know, as far as its legacy, it was a nostalgic favourite for many Australians like us who grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s. And it was 2016, rather than... I did say it was recently, but it's 2016, apparently, where Jade and Ryan did launch Cheez TV's Facebook page, and they shared episodes and behind-the-scenes stuff. And in 2017, they did a Twitch series called Cheez Live, which I didn't get.
Cheez Live.
Though I did see their YouTube channel, which later came, and then there was a podcast called The Jade and Ryan Show. Okay. And I did listen to The Jade and Ryan Show, and it was good.
Thumbs up.
Good job, guys.
Okay.
Great job, guys.
Good on you, lads.
So Saturday Disney, what was that about?
We might try and get those boys on this podcast later on in the year. It'll be great.
They could take over, maybe.
Yeah.
Do it for us.
Okay, I'm looking at Saturday Disney. So it had a pretty good run from 1990 through to 2016. So
Huge run.
A big run, yeah,
Huge
very
run.
big run. Network, this was shown on the 7 Network, and as Sean alluded to earlier, it was a Saturday morning TV show.
Hence the name.
Hence the name Saturday
giveaway,
Disney.
right?
Yeah, it kind of gave it away a little bit. Various hosts over the years, including Sophie Formica.
Formica. God, how do you not remember Sophie Formica?
Formica.
Sophie Formica. Anyway, carry on.
Lisa Barry, Melanie Simmons,
Don't know him.
Shay Brewster, and Tegan Nash.
No.
Format, so it was a 2-hour program, including Disney cartoons, of course, being a Saturday
Again.
Disney show.
The name gives it away.
Live action series and interactive segments.
Had some good shows.
Well, look at the episodes here. So it's got 1,366 episodes over 27 series.
But when you're only going on the Saturday,
Yeah, that's pretty good.
suppose, yeah.
That's pretty good going.
that's a long time, yeah.
So what was it notable for? Showcasing classic Disney, again, content and family-friendly entertainment. Content highlights. Featured Disney classics, of course, such as DuckTales, Chip and Dale, Rescue Rangers,
The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Don't know it. And Lizzie McGuire.
I remember Lizzie McGuire.
Okay. Hosts engage with viewers through interactive segments, competitions, and behind-the-scenes content. So I think they might have stole that off Cheez TV, to be honest. The legacy.
Starting to lean already, aren't we?
We are. The legacy. It became a weekend morning staple for Australian families. Celebrated its thousandth episode in 2009 and aired its final episode on September 24th in 2016 after 26 years on air.
That's crazy.
So that's a good run.
That's a good run. I mean, again, Disney owns everything, but that was how you got your Disney fix.
That's how you
Other
got-
than
yeah.
the big films like, you know, in Lion King or Little Mermaid or whatever they came out. The only other Disney stuff was the TV cartoons, and you watched it on a Saturday morning. I do recall it being a bit of an event in my household on a Saturday morning. Like that was what you did on a Saturday morning. You watched it. But what you also did was you went and you found 3 items and you made them into Mickey Mouse ears and a head. You'd find 3 coins, a big coin and 2 smaller coins, and you make a Mickey Mouse head. It might sound confusing, but if you didn't do it, you won't know what I'm talking about. But it was a segment they used to have when you would make Mickey Mouse logo out of random shit, essentially. The key differences between the two: one was good, one was shit. No, sorry. One was better than the other, I think. But Cheez TV's target audience, tweens and teens. It went for, kids, either the older kids or the kids that thought they were older.
Yeah,
kids,
that's right. Yeah.
right? Whereas Saturday Disney really went
Celebrated
wholesome
younger
family
kids, yeah.
entertainment, which is great, but we wanted to be cool.
So we wanted Cheez TV.
We
That's
wanted
what you're
Cheez
saying.
TV.
Yeah.
Right. The tone of Cheez TV, energetic, cheeky, and edgy, definitely. And then the tone of Saturday Disney was wholesome and polished.
Very family friendly. Yeah. Very
You know?
PC.
Very PC. But even, I mean, I think most of Saturday Disney was just like showing either the real tame cartoons or the live action shows where it was like, be good to your parents and be a nice kid. Or you'll be,
You'll be punished in some way.
Anyway, we'll move on.
That's the latest show.
The presenter style, well, Jade and Ryan, informal, humorous, and interactive, whereas Saturday Disney was more formal, warm, and engaging. I don't know. I do remember some Saturday Disney where it was a little less formal, but it was a lot more structured.
It was, a lot more structured. Where
Cheez TV
was a bit looser. Yeah, a
bit like
looser.
this.
Yeah, a bit like this. Flip the coin. What are we going to say next? Not sure.
viewer interaction, pretty much the same.
Same. It was. Yeah, it was pretty much the same. It was a big deal. Then there was a big deal. Live phone-ins, competitions, interactive segments, and contests.
Well, a phone-in was a big deal because it was like 78 cents a minute. Ask your parents to call. Like it was that.
Mum,
kind
can
of,
I call? No, it's going to cost us $5.
Yeah, STD rates.
Yeah.
And when I say STD, that's a different thing to what it means now.
It is completely different.
All right, conclusion. What do we got here?
So both Cheez TV and Saturday Disney played significant roles in shaping Australian children's television during the 90s and the early 2000s.
Yep.
Cheez TV offered a dynamic and edgy platform for older kids seeking action and humour, while the Saturday Disney series provided a wholesome and family-friendly environment for younger viewers. Together, they represented a diverse landscape of children's programming in Australia during that era.
I'll agree with that, and I also think that like Saturday Disney had its place. You can see where I'm going here. Like, you know, like you think about kids that are 5 or 6 years old, right? Like they need to watch, you know, DuckTales. That's more appropriate than say X-Men. You know, like it's just it's one of those, because I mean they're not going to get X-Men and they're not going to understand like
the content or the
there's a bit more to it.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Wibbles? Who have we got in this epic battle? Who's winning?
So for me, I'm going to give my victory to Cheez TV.
You've gone the cheese.
Well, only because of special mention to Oz Aerobics that appeared before Cheez TV. Used to get up especially just to watch that.
Yeah, look.
What about you?
Look, I've got to go the cheese.
For the same reason? Oz Aerobics?
Aerobics Oz style definitely was a selling point, but hey, it had X-Men. I'm clearly nuts about it, but also because like Jade and Ryan were funny dudes, and they were like the guys that were like they were like your older sibling, like
they were, you know?
Whereas Saturday Morning Disney employed people in their 30s. Yeah. Except Sophie for Micah. But employed these people that were just older than the kids, and they weren't talking to you as a peer. They were talking to you as a child from an adult perspective.
Yeah.
That's my big selling point for Cheese. The Cheese wins. Cheez TV, victory.
Cheez TV, victory.
Victory, Cheez TV.
It's Tuckshop time.
Thanks, Mick. So it is. It's Tuckshop time. And on this episode of Millennial Memories, we're actually going to talk about a specific item. We're going to talk about the classic Sunnyboy.
Not the band.
Not the band. You know the band was named after?
The Sunnyboy. Is that right?
Sunnyboys.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
They tasted one of these things and went, that's a great name for a band.
It could be why. I'm going to read some of the information that Slick Mick's researched for us, because I don't really have a lot to do with Sunnyboy. It was Sunnyboy, not Sunnyboys as well.
Oh, Sunnyboy.
I know what they are. I saw them. Tetrahedral packaging ice block. Many of our listeners will go, oh, I remember those.
Fond memories of those,
but
yes.
I didn't have them because I didn't want them, basically. But
they were in every tuck shop across the land back in the 90s, weren't they? Everywhere. Sunnyboys were everywhere.
Sunnyboy was a popular Australian ice block, was being the operative word, known for its distinctive tetrahedral shape and a variety of vibrant flavours. First sold in the 60s.
Holy shit, yeah, right.
It became a staple of Australian school lunchboxes and was widely available throughout the 80s and the early 90s. The ice block's flavours included, these are good names, ready? Orange Explosion, Raz Raspberry, Zap Lime,
Zapper,
and my favourite, Glug Cola.
That sounds delicious. Glug Cola.
Goopy. Yeah. With special limited edition flavours like pineapple.
Oh, okay.
And Buzz Black Currant. There you go.
So poor old pineapple just got pineapple. Everyone else got some kind of cool ring to it.
Piss poor pineapple.
PP.
PP. The Sunnyboy brand was bought by National Foods in 1991, which apparently led to a decline in their availability. The icebox continued to be sold in 3 flavours after it was brought out, and the product gained attention with the popular 1 in 5 instant win competition. Well, you put a competition on something, people buy it, right? That's just how it goes. We might do that for this show. You could win a free. You could win a Sunnyboy. Of all the things you could win a free Sunnyboy. Not just one,
a whole case of them.
Oh,
don't even Sunnyboys.
Don't even go there.
That's a case, isn't it?
In the 90s, Sunnyboys expanded into related products like Sunnyboy Jelly.
Never heard of it.
And Sunnyboy Cordial.
Never heard of it.
But that seems like a logical transition.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. However, after years of declining sales, the product was discontinued in 2016, so quite late.
Okay.
By the Daily Juice Company. They must have purchased
Acquired
it
at some point.
Reduced consumer demand. I think because Zupa Dupas became so big.
Yeah.
And they were easier packaging.
Wait, that was the killer of those things. They'd take you 15 minutes just to cut the top of them.
Then you cut your mouth.
Yeah. You cut your mouth on this hard silver paper that you'd be bleeding everywhere trying to eat an ice block.
The orange explosion and lip explosion. Ripping your mouth.
What are you sucking on there? A bit of Glug Cola?
That's blood cola.
Blood cola.
In 1998, Sunnyboy made an appearance in the famous Agro's Drink and Freezy show bag. at the Sydney Royal Easter Show, making it solidifying its place in Australian pop culture. And the Sunnyboys featured alongside the Agro show bag, which was a fan favourite. Now, what is Agro?
What is an Agro?
Tell us, Chris.
What is an Agro? Who is an Agro, you ask? So Agro is a famous Australian public character performed by Jamie Dunn. So massive. Has his own TV show. Known for his cheeky, mischievous personality, Agro first gained popularity on Agro's Cartoon Connection from 1990 to 1992 on Network 10.
Yep.
Where he hosted children's cartoons with witty, sarcastic humour.
Witty's a stretch.
Filthy. Filthy. Agro was,
He was a sex
filthy.
pest.
He was a sex pest. If you go back and watch it, poor old Anne Marie, she's the cop it.
Oh, she used to cop it.
I think she liked it secretly. I think she liked it. Well, that's going to get kicked off YouTube, but anyway. Unlike traditional kids' TV hosts, Agro is edgy and irrelevant jokes, along with his playful interactions, playful being the word, with the audience, made him a standout character.
So Agro's name, the word aggro, is Australian slang for aggression or aggravation, and Agro is sometimes said to have the surname Vation. So aggravation. That's terrible. No one ever called him Agro.
No, it was just Agro.
It's just Agro. It's just Jamie Dunn with his hand up a puppet, being rude to
That's him.
everybody.
Yeah, that was it.
Really. It was funny, though.
It was Jamie Dunn being Jamie Dunn. Yeah.
Realistically, yeah. His humour was adult, sexual suggestion, cursing. Well, the thing is, it wasn't like that so much on Agro's Cartoon Connection. So on the show, he wasn't there just
Being
going
a sex
wild.
pest, yeah.
No, he made some jokes, but ultimately he was pretty tame. The reason that people remember or think of Agro as being this wild character that was rude and horrible is because, I don't know who leaked it, whether it was Jamie Dunn or whether it was Channel 7 or whatever, but they leaked B-roll footage and put it on YouTube.
Right.
And Jamie Dunn was being, obviously, he's joking around with Anne-Marie, or whoever the host was at the time, there's been a few different hosts, and they're mucking around and he's swearing and saying stuff that's inappropriate. But that wasn't what was aired.
And it was only intended for the people within the studio at that
That's
time.
right.
For the people who were there.
That's right.
It wasn't intended for TV, of course, like most things. It got out, and of course, that was the end of that.
The digital world.
The end of fun. Yeah.
But one of the things that was cool about Agro was that he was a fan of rugby league, which we're both fans of. And we're from Brisbane, and Jamie Dunn's from Brisbane. And Jamie Dunn, little did people know, Jamie Dunn was actually a drummer in a band in Brisbane, and he'd been around a long time in the Brisbane music scene. I can't remember the band's name. I don't know what it is. But he also was a massive fan of one of rugby league's icons, one of my favourite Australian rugby league players, the King, Wally Lewis.
Sir Walter.
So the whole time, Agro would always be banging on about Wally Lewis. And in other states, in other places in Australia, I don't think they cared.
They didn't care, no. No, what would they? No.
We did. In Brisbane we did. Because he was the Australian captain, the Queensland Maroons captain, the Brisbane Broncos captain, later the Seagulls captain. If you don't know who Wally Lewis is, turn us off. Turn us off. We don't want to know you.
He's the Emperor of
king,
Blank Park.
The Emperor. Have
There's
you got a
song.
statue? I don't have a statue.
I don't have a statue. I don't think I'm getting a statue either.
The King has a statue.
He does. He absolutely has one right out the front of a big football ground, actually.
Yeah. I think it's time we started to share our Sunnyboys with somebody else now.
Welcome to the jungle. We got
Now it's time to introduce our special guest.
Joining us today on Millennial Memories is our very first guest and someone who Chris and I both met when we were in space with Katy Perry. She's a professor of Cartoonology, so she tells us, which is, they need one of those in space. That's why we went.
Absolutely. That's how you got the gig.
Yep, and it's Miss Michelle.
Miss Michelle.
Hi.
Spaceology, Cartoonology.
Spaceology, Cartoonology. Well, the reason we've got Michelle here on Millennial Memories today is because Chris and I have been talking a lot about cartoons, but they're all boys' cartoons.
They are.
We needed a female perspective.
Okay, yeah.
So, we grew up in the 80s and 90s, Chris and I. You're a little bit younger. Mm-hmm. We won't give away any ages.
Slightly younger.
Slightly younger. But you would have watched some cartoons for girls, surely.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you list a few for us? We don't know girls' cartoons. That's why you're here.
Well, I mean, when I was, very little, we had Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls, yeah.
I remember Raggy Dolls, yeah. Raggy Dolls was a big series.
What else do we have? My Little Pony.
My Little Jabroni.
I feel like there was a Barbie cartoon, was there?
I don't know.
I don't know. Do
You're
you
the
think
professor of Cartoonology.
I feel like there was.
You should be telling us. Professor?
Yeah, I think so. I think there was like a Barbie cartoon. But
Sure, there would have been.
But I feel like a lot of 90s, 80s cartoons were not specifically gender specific, though. I think that, you know...
Well, you're the professor. You're
No,
telling
I'm
the story.
No, but that's a good point you raise, actually, because
Yeah.
now that's very specific in the way that they do cartoons, right? They're aimed at boys or girls, where back in the 80s and 90s, it didn't really matter. Like, plenty of girls grew up watching but you didn't think it was a boy cartoon specifically. It was just a cartoon, right?
Exactly, yeah.
It was
I
a
disagree
cartoon.
entirely with that.
That's good.
Oh, really?
It gives us
I
something
think
to talk
that,
about.
yeah, well, I think that the cartoons when we were kids, because it was like a lot of them, as we said before, Chrissy, were about the toys.
They were about the
Because
toys,
they were cartoons were basically advertisements for toys.
True, yeah.
So you said My Little Pony, that was the toy series, the toy line.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well,
but
that
you
makes
didn't
sense.
think
I didn't have any My Little
Yeah.
Ponies, if you're asking, but still.
I'm
I
sure
beg
you had
to
a few
differ,
tucked
yeah. I
away.
beg to differ.
All right. Well, Care Bears was another one.
Care Bears was huge. And Cabbage Patch Dolls.
Oh,
Now, I don't know if the
Yeah,
show
Cabbage
came
Patch.
first or the toy came first. Maybe the toy on that one.
we'll get Slick Mick to find out.
Yeah. Or just give us a figure. I mean, you're the cartoonologist. Just saying.
I actually think maybe the toy first. Yeah. And
That would
then
make sense.
the cartoon to sell more of the already huge
I
toys.
think that was the thing in the 80s. Like, that was a big thing. Like, My Pet Monster.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about my,
I didn't know that one.
my pet monster. Yeah.
My Pet Monster. And it was just a big, massive, stuffed blue monster toy. It was a toy. They just... Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah, I was going to say
Ruxpin.
Teddy Ruxpin,
Yeah.
right? I feel like that was
Was that
probably...
a cartoon, though? Was that or just a toy? Was that a cartoon?
It was a cartoon.
That's another,
Was?
that's
Yeah.
another fact check.
Yeah,
for-
there we go. Fact check.
I can tell you it was a
Yeah.
cartoon
On
because
that.
I used to watch it.
Oh, there you go.
It wasn't very good. Like a lot of these cartoons. It wasn't very good. But we watched it anyway. What's your favourite cartoons? Got any favourites, Michelle?
You know, honestly, I don't know if it's my favourite, but the one that I probably watched the most would have been, it's probably most kids, I think it would probably be The Simpsons, to be honest. The most watched.
Oh, that's interesting. Very
Was The
interesting.
Simpsons.
Segue.
Well,
Bit of a reference there.
But it was on so much, especially
Yeah.
here in Australia. Like, if you were lucky enough, if you were a rich kid, you had Foxtel. So every Saturday and Sunday, it was just bang, bang, bang. Simpsons.
It's still on.
Is
like,
it?
You
I
can,
actually
you can
was
watch it
thinking
on
that.
Fox, and I think
Yeah.
you can watch like reruns like back to back.
Yeah, that was huge here. If you were,
Yeah,
again, like I said, a rich kid.
If you had the Foxtel, yeah.
Yeah, and it was Saturday mornings,
Were you a rich
Sunday
kid?
mornings. Oh,
Did you have Foxtel?
we had Foxtel, yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
the professor speaks up.
But I think probably just because of how much it was on is probably the one I watched the most.
That's probably
Yeah.
fair. We did have a conversation before we started recording briefly about ABC and the ABC afternoon programming,
Oh, yeah.
which you have some knowledge of.
Oh,
Tell us
massive.
about ABC.
Well, do you want to go, like, depends where you want to go with it, because if you go early, you've got, like, all those little, remember all those, like, 5-minute shows that were sort of on in between shows?
Yeah, you mentioned Raggy Dolls. That
Raggy
was
Dolls,
one.
I feel, was that ABC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was Banana Man in that on?
Yeah,
Yes,
they're
Banana
all
Man.
the
Banana
they're
Man.
all the 5-minute shows, though.
Captain, yeah. All that
Captain
kind of
Planet was
yeah.
a full
show.
20-minute show,
Yeah.
though. And that was, like, boys and girls, because it had a good mix of male characters and female characters.
Yeah.
But I think, like, with all the cartoons, they all have that moral, you know, they all have that little moral lesson in it.
Yeah.
I think,
They-
which a lot of the shows don't have these days.
Correct, yeah. That's what we were saying earlier.
A lot of them now are just
Yeah.
silly for the sake of silly.
Silly, yeah.
Yeah. Banana Man.
Banana Man.
Such a good show, though. Wasn't it good?
Who was the little Danger Mouse? He was another one that floated
Oh,
around.
Danger
that time. That
Mouse.
was Danger Mouse. Roger Ramjet, he was on in the afternoon.
Super
at that
Ted.
time.
Super Ted.
Super
Yeah,
Ted.
Super Ted
A
was cool.
spotty man.
Spotty man, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
What was the backstory with Super Ted? I can't remember. Someone came down from somewhere. Spotty Man's from outer space.
That
but-
sprinkled dust or something on him, didn't he?
Yeah.
It was something along those lines.
Something like that.
But then there was, like, remember Roger Ramjet, too? But that
Yeah,
was, I
Roger
think that
Ramjet.
was even before our time.
I think Roger Ramjet is like a 60s or 70s
But
American
it just
cartoon.
continued on.
But a lot of the shows on ABC in the afternoons after school or whatever, they would have been BBC. The BBC.
Knockoffs, yeah, they were like extensions.
So
that
what
we
are
got, basically. UK, yeah.
Rugrats. You had...
Rugrats was a big one.
That was massive. And they made the movie. Remember they made
They've made about 5.
Oh, have they? Oh, I'm out of touch there. But I remember they made a movie. And what was the Hey Arnold?
Yes, Hey Arnold, that was a good
Yeah.
one.
Loved, yeah.
Yeah, all the ABC, actually all of the kids' ABC shows, I don't know if they still play them, but they were all crackers.
Are Real Monsters.
Yeah.
was
Rocco's Modern Life.
Oh, I remember
Yeah.
that. That's a banger, yeah. That's an absolute banger.
Cat
They made a
Doll.
film of that
Cat
recently.
Dog.
There's a recent Rocco's Modern Life film.
Oh, really? Oh. But they all had really catchy, like, theme songs. Every single one of
They
them.
did.
Yeah.
That was the thing
Cat-
that hooked you at the start. They always had awesome, cool, catchy songs. They did.
Like, can't
They did that
remember.
well.
Yeah, can't remember the episode, but I can remember, you know,
You
their
hear the
songs.
theme music and the
you know
song, and you knew
what it
exactly
is.
what was coming on. Yeah.
I'm going to give you one theme song that's brilliant, and it's more the end theme song than the beginning theme song. Count Duckula.
Oh, yep. Yep.
That was a favourite. I love the Count Duckula.
Count Duckula.
Yeah.
Such
Again,
a good one.
banger. What a banger of a song.
Yep. What was the one, was it just Monsters? The one with the...
Trapdoor.
The one that had the eyes, and he's like, would hold them with his hands. What was that?
I think you're thinking... Oh, that's Are Real Monsters.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's
yeah.
a Nickelodeon cartoon.
Yeah.
Oh, Nickelodeon. Yeah, that was really big too. Again, if you're a rich kid and you had Foxtel, Nickelodeon.
Funny you say that.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was so many. Like, I don't know if there's as many now for kids as there was back then. Or if
Well,
they
you've
still
got young
play them.
kids, so like, I mean, I
Bluey.
presume that you watch a lot of kids'
Oh,
cartoons.
Yeah.
Bluey.
Yeah, Bluey.
All right.
Bluey is huge now.
That was
But
Paw Patrol,
I feel
but I
like-
mean, different, right? It's not like it was.
no, they have a few that are just like Bluey and Peppa Pig, like those sort of ones. They're just like.
But do they have a
really-
moral lesson?
Not particularly. Not always. No, not always.
What about a rip snorting intro?
Oh, no.
Oh.
No.
Don't think so.
No, I think Bluey does, but I think it's just because it's so well known that everyone kind of.
It's massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's huge.
Internationally huge.
Yeah, and the Americans love it.
And it focuses on Brisbane, where we are all from.
Yeah,
So that's kind of cool, I guess.
yeah.
You know, live action shows. I'm gonna talk about and get you to comment on Round the Twist.
Oh, see, I could tell you every single word. I'm not going to do it, but to the thing.
Now's the opportunity. You've got the audience.
Come on,
The
you got
theme song.
again, a theme song.
But
Sing
no,
the theme
but
song.
you know,
Yeah.
I've got something interesting about Round the Twist is that they had 3 seasons, I'm pretty sure, and every season they had a different cast because they had a huge gap in between filming. So the Linda Bronson, I don't remember the other
Slick
brother.
Mick, can you follow this up for us,
No,
please?
because like I think that actually started in the 80s and then they kind of progressed to the 90s and then I think they did one maybe late 90s, early 2000s. So there were only 3 seasons, but different
Different
casts
characters.
each time.
Were they? That was based off books, wasn't it?
Roald Dahl?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Or Paul Jennings.
Or something like that, yeah. You have to look that up. But yeah. No, they did 3 seasons of that, but they're all different.
Now I know that you're a really big fan of Liftoff
Lift
and
up.
EC.
Oh, listen. That
faceless-
creepy doll.
the faceless
creepy
doll.
I don't know how more children didn't have that. I mean, I don't remember anything from that show except that creepy doll without a face.
I remember Mark Mitchell being in the show, the guy who's Con the Fruiterer.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, is he?
kind of, yeah.
Oh, you know, he's in.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's
Yeah.
in Round the Twist too.
He
He was.
Honestly,
He
yeah.
took over from Frankie
He
J.
did.
Holden.
He did, yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And he was in Comedy Company, and
What does he do now? Is he still
I
alive?
don't. I hope so. I hope
I think
so.
he can
Just
edit
working
that.
the
Beautiful,
fucking
beautiful,
beautiful.
beautiful.
No, he was really
Con the
great.
Fruiterer.
Yeah.
And also, I also recall there was Ocean Girl. That was definitely.
God.
That's one I remember was a
That
good.
was
That's, I mean, you can't say
Yeah.
that's not marketed
Yeah.
to girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's not a cartoon.
They were
but-
mermaids, weren't they?
Well, no, that was,
was
sort
that?
of.
Oh, no,
She
that's
was-
H2O I was thinking of.
H2. Well, actually, my
Oh.
kids now will watch H2O. That's the beauty of having.
What's
all this-
H2O?
It's the mermaid show, but it's all
Yeah.
filmed at SeaWorld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 3
I've
teenage
never
girls. I don't know how they become mermaids, but they did. It was
Were they
atrocious.
were they born mermaids?
No,
I
they
can't
weren't.
remember.
No,
See, if they were bitten by a radioactive mermaid,
I think it was a dolphin attacked
or,
them.
no,
Yeah.
something from space, like mosquito, turn them into mermaids. Came from space.
Merman. Where was the merman?
No.
No,
Yeah.
no, that,
No,
see, well,
that's
if we're
the
talking
merman.
like male, female, yeah,
Essence of wetness. Chris and I were talking about how Ren and Stimpy was kind of the first filthy cartoon.
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, yeah. And
And then you
parents
had-
didn't actually want kids to watch that because
No.
I remember as a kid, my parents going, "Oh, Ren and Stimpy," and
It's so stupid.
flicking it off. Yeah.
They actually tried to ban it at one stage, I think, didn't
Yeah.
they? I remember they had
Probably
an
fair
interview. It was
enough.
like 60 Minutes or something. They had a interview with him and saying that, yeah, for that reason, because it was kids were watching this show, it was classed as, this wasn't great TV for children or whatever, but Kids loved it.
Yeah, I mean, do you all remember the controversy about, what is it, Humphrey the
Oh,
Bear?
Big Bear not wearing pants or something? Yeah.
No, he didn't wear any
Fat
pants.
Cat.
That's that controversy.
Yeah,
He should be wearing pants.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
He was wild.
I mean, he was a big
Fat
pretend
Cat.
bear. Yeah,
Fat Cat was the same.
Yeah.
and then, what was it, the Nobby? Is it Nobby or?
Noddy.
Noddy.
Oh, Noddy. Was Noddy gay?
I think that's
or
why-
not gay.
Well, that's what they, was he
I
had
think-
that, like, wizard friend that they always
Yeah.
said that he was,
In a relationship
had relations
with? Yes.
with, yeah. So,
Yes.
I mean,
Hardly controversial
I
this
feel
day and
like-
age, but
as a millennial, we sort of, like, had all those, bits and pieces where the parents, for the first time, started jumping in and saying, oh, hold on a minute.
well, Ren and
South
Stimpy,
Park.
Ren and
South
Stimpy
Park,
led to
yeah.
South Park, and that Simpsons was considered like, toilet humor.
Hmm.
But now you think back and watch it and think that's nothing.
It's nothing.
No.
That's nothing.
You look at, as you said, like, South Park's a good example of that. Like, you look at some of the jokes they make and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, even now the
even
jokes
now,
they make,
that's
you
what I
think,
mean. Yeah, you look at some of the stuff now and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, definitely. Or
One of the-
adult humor, like,
Adult humour,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Same with, like, Shrek and all of that sort of stuff. They stick a little bit in there.
Those kind of animated films where they're geared to children, but they tell adult jokes. SpongeBob SquarePants is
Yeah.
another one.
Oh, yeah.
They tell a joke.
They're
and it's
hidden,
cool.
right? There's some
subtle.
subtext there. Yeah, subtext, yeah.
Michelle, you were saying to me previously, not on this podcast, but you did mention about kids' game shows.
Oh, okay. So there was...
Explain what that is too first, because that's confusing for people, I think.
So if you're not Australian, you might not know, but we had a lot of game shows, but a lot of them actually was like different schools competing against each other. And
Yes, yeah.
And what they would do is they would like create like a course, and then they would have to go through the course, answer
Say
questions.
a maze.
A maze.
Like
Ding.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Zing.
Yeah, that was... I actually watched that like every afternoon after school. That amazing.
I just remember that they had to find stuff in the maze.
Yes.
And you could see it. You would see where it was as the camera was showing you
Yeah.
where
Would
everything.
pan across.
And
yeah.
you'd be like, "It's just there,
Just, you
fucking
idiot! You've gone past it.
It's right there.
How did you not see
Ah,
that?
and it'll be
Oh,
right-
you're going back. You've missed it. You fool.
Yeah.
And you've run out of time.
Yeah.
And you can't get the Game Boy.
No.
Or
it's
even
not
or even the questions, like they would ask them, questions beforehand, and then they would have, depending on how many questions they got, would bump
Add up on
their
their time, right?
and then
Yeah, it
that's
might be
how
worth
long they
5
got.
seconds or something.
That was the premise of Vidiot.
Okay,
Yeah. There was Amazing, Vidiot, and Time Masters.
I feel like there was probably some more in there.
There's heaps more,
But
but I
Amazing
can't
was
remember
the
'em.
king, right? That was the
best one.
What was that? Was that Channel 7?
Yeah,
I
that
feel
was
like
a Channel
that was
7
Channel
show.
7. Yeah.
But see, there was always shows like that, but to a probably to a bigger extent. It's a Knockout.
Oh man, that cast.
That's probably before your time, Michelle, I'd say.
But that was more adult based because that was adult competitors, whereas Amazing was schools, as you said.
Yeah.
That was kids, right? Kids based.
Second, you didn't really watch It's a Knockout.
No, I don't really. No.
That's probably before your time. Chris,
I have memories of it. I know I used to love it, but I
Billy
have
J.
memories.
Smith used to be the
Was
host.
yeah.
And he used to host.
He was.
He used to be the commentator for local rugby league games.
He was
That's
as
why I
well.
remember it
Yeah.
fondly. But there's one other show of that kind of ilk that I want to remind you both of, and it's fucking Gladiators.
Gladiator! Are you ready?
Are you ready,
Are
Mike
you
Whitney?
ready?
Are you ready? Gladiators.
We have gotten way off cartoon topic, but Gladiators, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gladiators.
I'm glad. Like,
Did you actually go to a Gladiator?
We-
Did you go to
I
Brisbane
did.
Entertainment
We
Centre?
did.
I remember going. Yeah.
Yep. And you'd make your sign at home just because you wanted that 2 seconds of camera time. Remember, you'd make a sign, and it was always like Vulcan.
Yeah, he was popular.
Yeah.
I remember when you'd go there and you watch it, and you thought that it was like watching it on TV, but it was like stop start, stop start.
yeah.
It'd be 7 hours.
It was actually a
You're all
long day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was this? It's the Queen song. What is it? They'd always play it. Another one bites. Is that it? No.
That was one of the songs. They used to do a few Queen songs.
There was
wasn't
always a Queen song. And yeah, I remember that. That was pretty
Gladiators.
big. Yeah.
Way off topic. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's a
No, but-
knockout reminded me of
You threw it in
Gladiators.
there.
But I mean, it's
Yeah.
very,
It was big.
it's very
It was a
millennial.
big show.
They did
Yeah.
reprise that, but it wasn't as popular
No.
with the
It was
next
terrible.
generation.
It's an American
Yeah.
idea, and it's an American
Is it?
show that
Yeah.
Australia. Well, I won't say we stole it.
Yeah.
It was commercial over there, so I guess they made money off it here. It was popular for a flash.
Yeah, in a couple of years, didn't it? It was popular.
Well, Michelle, thank you for talking about stuff, not just cartoons, but lots of stuff. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
yeah.
It was nice to relive some of the.
When's your next space trip?
I don't know. Well, I am officially a, what does Katy Perry say? She's officially an astronaut now. So,
Officially an astronaut.
She's officially
So
nuts.
you're
Yeah.
officially an astronaut, a comicologist, and a spaceologist.
Cartoonologist.
Cartoonologist.
Everythingologist.
Yeah.
Gladiatorologist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gladiatorologist.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks
No
for your
worries.
time.
See ya.
Now this is a story.
Thanks, Will. Thanks, Mick. Story time.
Story time. What
We've
have
got
we
a good one for you today. It is The Ferals. I alluded to it earlier. The Ferals was a popular Australian children's comedy television series which aired on ABC from only 1994 to 1995.
There's possibly a good reason for that, Sean.
2 seasons, 30 episodes in total. Here's The Ferals.
There's a rat called Radis. He's the leader of the bunch. A cat called Modigliana. She's fluffy, but she's tough. Darren, he's a dopey dog. Mixie's a muddled up, mixed up bunny. Ferals. That's the Ferals for ya. Ferals. Don't mess with the Ferals. The Ferals. They're gonna get you. That's the Ferals.
So that's The Ferals. Surely you remember The Ferals. Tell us about The Ferals, Wibbles.
So it was created by Wendy Gray and Claire Henderson and featured a mixture of people and animal puppets known as the Ferals. Ferals. Had a great theme song too.
It did.
It was lauded for its irrelevant humour and distinctive characters, some of which featured on the ABC programming. Garth Frost was responsible for the puppet design.
You said to me when I mentioned to you, off air, off the podcast, before we recorded, that you found those puppets to be freaky.
Quite- they
scary.
were freaky, yeah,
Well,
quite
those puppets
discerning.
were cool. Thanks, Garth Frost. Now, the opening theme, which you said was cool, was written by Peter Descent and Arthur Basting and performed by, you know who? Dave Dobbin.
Ah, Dave Dobbin, really?
Yep. Famous New
Wow,
Zealand singer and
okay.
musician. And you know what he's best known for, Dave Dobbin?
Oh,
Tell me, you know the song.
it's got to be Slice of Heaven. That's the
Oh.
only one Dave Dobbin's done, isn't it? That's
And
all
do you
it's
want to
got.
know something? Here's a good little link. Dave Dobbin's Slice of Heaven was actually also written for a cartoon. Would you believe it?
I do,
Foot
yes.
Rot Flats, The Dog's Tale from 1986. Actually, a really cool cartoon. If you haven't watched it, go watch or Google Foot Rot Flats. It's pretty funny.
Do yourself a favour.
Yeah. The Ferals were an eclectic group of animals that lived together in a backyard shed. All right, I'm going to go through the characters, and I'm not going to do it in the theme song. I'm not going to sing it. There's a rat called Radis P. Radis.
That sounds like the theme song.
There's a rat named Radis. Anyway, a feral cat called Modigliana Esmeralda Olga Widebottom. Just let that sink in for a minute.
Say that 5 times.
No. A rabbit called Mixie M. Tosis.
That's a
Let that
disease,
sink
isn't
in.
it?
Yeah,
Yes.
Mixie Tosis.
Tosis.
And a dopey feral dog called Darren. Nothing better than that, just Darren.
This Darren.
The dopey dog. The humans are 2 university students, and their landlord, they clash with them and the ferals. So the landlord is an uptight, neurotic piece of shit named Joe King. Joe King.
Joking.
Oh, so
they're
good.
full of it, yeah.
Who was
they're full.
determined to remove the ferals from the garden, and an affable science student, Leonard, or Lenny, they call him Lenny in the show, and the medical student, Robbie. They attempt to shield the ferals from eviction, but are sometimes exacerbated by the ferals' antics.
There are also the bozos from the bush. Remember the bozos from
Oh, the
bush?
bozos.
And the
Modigliana.
Modigliana. Yeah, you can say that one. Like to call them. There was Keith, a koala,
Yep.
and Kylie, a kangaroo. These 2 characters often clashed with the ferals, thinking that they were the upper classy, upper echelon
That's
of
right.
animal, weren't they? I mean, the koala and a kangaroo, definitely.
High class.
High class animals they were, looking down on the ferals, so to speak. Who are these ferals?
Ah, disgusting.
So later in 1995, a 5-minute show called Feral TV was launched. It also had 2 seasons and consisted of 45 episodes running until late 1997.
So hold on. There was 30 episodes of ferals, and there was 47, did you say?
45
45 episodes of feral TV.
Have to check that one, Mick.
No, I think I know why.
Why's
I think
that?
I know what. Because
Tell me.
Feral TV was only short. 5-minute shows.
Ah, okay.
That's why I remember Feral TV being short. It was in between shows.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the ABC in the afternoon.
Yeah, got ya. The Ferrells had been exploring the sewers due to Joe demolishing the shed in the final episode and had discovered the cable to a TV station. So they started their own TV channel, calling it Feral TV, of course. As you do. Feral TV.
Yeah.
Running under the TV boss, Carey. A loud, gruff toad with an explosive temper. That sounds like someone in Australian media. Perhaps back in the 90s. Could be.
Could be a reference.
Could be a reference to somebody. And his assistant, the cockroach, Rodney the cockroach. Carey's character is modelled on the Australian media magnate, Kerry Packer.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
Spoilers.
Who at the time was the owner of Channel 9.
Yeah. Well, most human actors from the Ferrells didn't pursue major TV careers, or TV careers never found them, hard to say. Several puppet characters remain prominent in ABC programming. Mixie actually hosted ABC Kids' block of shows and had her own show and website. Don't remember it, but there you go.
No idea.
Rattus and Modigliana appeared in the ABC school math program Numbers Count. Mm-hmm. And Modigliana also co-hosted Creature Features. Don't remember that. Darren was the only main character not to appear in other ABC shows. Darren. Dopey dog.
Dog.
But
Dog.
I do recall, and people who aren't millennials might even recall, that the Ferrells, only Rattus, Modigliana and Mixie, were actually on the 2022 ABC New Year's Eve early night show.
Is that right? Yeah, okay.
I remember it. I remember
Rattus.
initially seeing Modigliana and thinking, what in the blue fuck
is going on here?
Is going on? I don't understand. Why are the Ferrells on my TV in 2022, nearly 2023?
Yeah.
But refreshing to see. But, you know, things from the past, I love it, I enjoy it, but what's something about the past that we might have missed? I don't know.
What is something? Okay, so we'll go to rewind and find something we missed when days gone by.
Yeah.
Now it's time to be kind and rewind.
Yeah, that's right. Be kind and rewind. Now, this is rewind. Obviously, we've mentioned it before. What we're doing is we're going to go back and find something we've missed. Something that has been out for decades, but we didn't know about it.
Could be a book, a TV, a movie, any one of those things.
Anything.
Anything.
Today, being a cartoon-based podcast, we've gone and looked at a show which I think in other countries, particularly the States, was very popular. In Australia, we just fucking missed it.
Just missed it.
Straight up missed it. And it's a shame because it looks rad. We haven't watched it yet. We're going to do that before we come back. Skeleton Warriors.
I'm excited to watch this one.
Mate, even the name. Skeleton Warriors. Like, if you're a 10-year-old boy and you see Skeleton Warriors, you're watching that.
Oh, it just shows how spoiled for choice we were. I mean, to miss such a classic, well, I'm presuming a classic like Skeleton Warriors.
It's got to be.
Gotta be.
I just assume, again, that maybe it wasn't broadcast in Australia.
Yeah,
If we're wrong, tell us, because I don't know where it was broadcast. Skeleton Warriors is an animated series that aired in 1994 and created by Landmark Entertainment Group. Never heard of it.
Never heard of him, no.
Set on the planet Luminaire.
Of course.
I'm going to say it's that. I haven't watched it yet. We haven't seen it yet. The show follows the struggle for control over the light star crystal, which powers the city of Luminicity. Luminicity.
Of course.
That's good. The villainous Baron Dark, it's all about light, attempts to steal the crystal, but only manages to obtain half. That's a shame. Which transforms him into a living skeleton. He gains the power to turn others into skeletal warriors with Heartstones.
Whoa. So the story centers on the Prince Lightstar.
Oh, of course it does.
Of course, Prince Lightstar. There's a theme here, and his allies who form the Legion of Light. Here we go. Prince Lightstar and his brother Grimskull.
Oh, I like that name. Nothing to do with light, but Grimskull sounds good.
There's a change. And their sister, what? Talon?
Talon?
Light
bulb.
Yeah, light bulb. Right. Along with their mentor, Ursak.
Ballsack.
Yeah, Ballsack. Ursak. Each possess powers granted by their half of the crystal.
Makes sense. Okay,
Makes sense. Right. They've got half of it. The bad guy's got half. So they battle against Baron Dark, of course, and his skeletal army to reclaim the Light Star Crystal and protect Luminaire.
Makes sense.
Does.
There's a bunch of characters that we touched on. They all are light-based except for the Rag Grimskull. Villains are... Oh, mate. Good names. There's a good name here of one of the bad guys. Dagger. Claw. They sound like they're from Gladiators.
That's another throwback.
The series explores themes of good versus evil. I'm going to go with light versus dark.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I'm pretty confident.
100%.
With intense battles and mystical powers. No doubt. Despite its short run of only one season and 13 episodes, it became a cult classic. Well, it sure as shit wasn't in Australia.
That might be telling you something, yeah.
Well, but we've missed this. That's what I mean. We've missed it.
Yeah, we missed it.
It's apparently for its unique blend of fantasy and futuristic action. I've seen trailers.
Okay.
I've seen adverts in comics, right? So I know what it looks like.
Well, I haven't seen it, so I don't know where this is going. So, the cartoon also spawned a toy line created by Playmate Toys. Whoa.
Not
back in the night.
Playboys.
And not Playboys, Playmates Toys. Well, they could have made toys of another kind.
I'm sure they did.
A comic book, limited series created by Marvel Comics.
That's why I saw it in comics, right?
6 episode novelizations.
Right.
A 1996 annual, a board game, a TCG, and the Skeleton Warriors video game. Now, we need to track that down for the Sega Saturn and the PlayStation consoles. Okay.
Well, our next episode is all about video games.
We need
Maybe we
to
could
track down Skeleton Warriors.
Well, Skeleton Warriors.
Sounds
Let's
great.
see what it's about.
These are the tales of the Skeleton Warriors.
Alright, so we've just watched Skeleton Warriors.
Episode 1, mind you.
There's 12 more to go. And I'm going to watch all 12 of those. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Mick. We're going to do some scoring. Go.
Jumpstart the Sean-o-meter. Alright, go on, Sean. Push the button. Let's have your Shawnee score. How many Shawnees out of a possible 4? That's a top score with 4 Shawnees.
Wow, 4 Shawnees.
Full score, top marks, 4 Shawnees out of a possible 4. I was impressed. I thought it was red hot. I'm looking at it from the perspective, Wibbles, of if I was a 10-year-old watching this show at the time when it came out in 1994, I would have lost my fucking mind. It was amazing in that light. Now, I have done a little bit of extracurricular activity to figure out
Why did you think you liked it so much?
Graz Entertainment. That's why. The same company that made X-Men. The animation is almost identical.
It very much did have that feel, didn't it? It was very X-Men-y.
Very X-Men-y. In fact, there were characters where if we were to put a side by side,
which we will,
and compare them, nevertheless, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. 4 Shawnees.
4 Shawnees.
Top score, top marks.
Scores. Okay.
All right, your turn. What are you going to do on the Wibble Scope?
Crank up the Wibble scope. Okay, go ahead, Chris. Pull the lever and give us your Wibble score. How many Wibbles out of a possible 4? That's a score of 3 Wibbles.
Well, so, only a 3, not a full score. Well,
not a full score. No, I've given it a 3. A 3 on the Wibble scope. It was just too close to X-Men for me. It was a little bit, Yeah, it felt like a copy, and to be honest, I felt like it was the Temu Wolverine. Captain, what's his name? Dr. Baron, Mr. Baron? It was Wolverine.
Baron Dark.
Baron Dark,
Wolverine, same dude.
Same guy.
Same dude.
There might have been some other characters in there too. What about Talon?
Jean Grey.
Could have been the same comic, but overall, the artwork was amazing.
Prince Lightstar.
Cyclops, yeah.
Thank you, Graz Entertainment.
Thank you very much.
I'm glad. I can see why maybe the one season of Skeleton Warriors didn't quite hit home, because it was coming.
It had big competition. Yeah,
well, hot on the back of X-Men, and it was same thing. Same thing.
Different names, same cartoon.
But radical.
Radical, yeah.
I'll take it. It was rad. 10-year-old me, again,
all over it.
Lost my mind over it. But 40-year-old me, it's X-Men.
Yeah. Baron Dark. Wolverine.
We're going to go dark.
Yeah. Nah, it's still good. It was enjoyable.
I can't believe you didn't give it a 4.
Nah, I've got to go to 3. I can't give it the full. X-Men's 4.
Oh, now you make me want to rethink the Shawnometer.
No. Roll with it. Stick with it. Stick with it.
Stay strong.
Stay strong.
All right.
Stay strong.
Look, it's been a really entertaining rewind, and I'm going to go back and rewind the other 12 episodes. I'm going to go watch them. But I think it's probably time to give our final thoughts.
Here's our final thoughts.
Well, Chris, it's time for our final thoughts. Some classic cartoons and TV shows amongst that lot. From the Ferals to Agro, Simpsons to Smurfs. I don't think we even mentioned Smurfs.
We did not. We did not.
The Smurfs.
Don't
watch the Smurfs. Gargamel is a dick.
Gargamel, that's him. Yeah,
we had humanoid animals. We had a toaster that talks. Apparently. Weird shit. Lots of weird shit. It was quite an adventure, but wow, Skeleton Warriors
takes a
really
cake.
A classic sleeper we didn't know we needed.
What a sleeper! Get out there and watch it, guys.
Yep. Big thanks to our special guest, Miss Michelle. She did a great job and took a trip down memory lane with us.
Yeah, thanks.
Whether she liked it or not, we dragged her. Really, but that's what it is. And I didn't know if you know this, but you can actually listen to Millennial Memories on Spotify and Bandcamp. And soon SoundCloud. I'm getting there. We'll do that. Okay? There'll be more podcast platforms as we go along. Every episode will have an accompanying full-length video. This is all being filmed. Go and watch it. It's on YouTube. You can watch along. You'll see clips of the stuff that Wibbles and I are waffling on about.
And waffle we do.
Oh, of course. And you know what? If you're not watching it, you're doing yourself a disservice, because it is pretty funny. Not so much us, but the clips we're showing are pretty funny. Now, you can also interact with us on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Instagram. We post all kinds of content. Flashback Fridays. We have selective Saturday polls. Short segments called Timeless Treasures. We did our first one. Mm-hmm. You know, it was
What
timeless.
was the Timeless Treasure? Give him a quick rundown.
Wow, it was a Dino Rider toy, which is, makes sense.
That was pretty awesome. Yeah,
it was pretty rad. And we do have a couple of questions have come in from some of our listeners.
Excellent. Been looking forward to this part.
This?
Absolutely. So the first one is, can you believe it? It's Starfucker69 on Instagram writes in that he was a little upset with our review of Mosquito last week. He said that our podcast is worse than that movie. Now, fair call to you, Starfucker69, but I'd be changing my Instagram handle if I was you.
We have a budget of $0. They had money to spend on Mosquito. They didn't spend it on the film.
They did not spend it on the film.
But there you go.
Nor actors or directors. Anyway, fair call to you, Starfucker69.
We've got another one here. Longtime lover 411 on X asks, how does Chrissy Wibbles keep his goatee so pristine?
Whoa. Now, that one's a secret, but that's between me and your mum.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wowza.
Put that in your pipe and smoke
All right. Final thoughts. On the next episode of Millennial Memories, we'll be blowing the dust out of our old video game cartridges and revisiting the video game consoles we grew up with. I cannot wait.
Neither can I. I can't wait for this one. But that's it for today's episode of Millennial Memories. Thanks for the support and for joining us, and join us on the next nostalgic journey.
That's right. And we had a blast today, as we always do.
Great fun.
Look, if you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit subscribe. Leave us a review. We'd love to hear any thoughts except those of Starfucker69.
And don't forget to follow us on the social media. I've got a funny feeling that Starfucker69 might be writing in, as well as longtime lover 411, whoever you are. But Tell us what memories you want us to hear as we dive into next, and all the links are available via the YouTube channel.
That's right. So if you have suggestions, questions, corrections, sometimes we want to hear them, sometimes we don't. Just depends on who's writing them. But seriously, get in touch with us. If you want to be a guest on the show,
if you want to be a guest.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Just let us know. We might be able to tee up I don't know, what do they call that? Skype?
A Skype, yeah. This new
I don't think
technology
Skype's a thing, is it anymore? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Neither way, it doesn't matter. Stay tuned for the next trip down memory lane. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you up with you on the next one. Over to you, Slick Mick.
That's all for this episode of Millennial Memories. Don't forget to follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. Until next time, stay rad.